welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Taylah and I here make scrunchies and bows, and I've been doing so for 10 years now. And in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make some oversized bows that look like these. So I'm going to show you how to make the triple layer bows and the ones with the tails as well. And before I get too ahead of myself, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content. To make these bows you can choose from an array of different fabrics. I specifically like using satin for these, or a sateen, just like this one. You'll need an iron, a sewing machine, and a needle as well. I also use glue that looks like this. It's fabric glue from Halma. You could possibly use hot glue or maybe a glue like this, which is E6000 you can get from craft stores, or you can even hand sew the backing. As for the hardware, I also use beret clips. I find they sit better in the hair. My beret clips look like this, and they're about 3 inches, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to start with the tail one first. So I'm going to start with satin fabric, measuring 6 inches wide. So I just cut off a whole strip, which is quite long when it's satin. So the pieces you'll need are a 17-inch piece, a 14-inch piece, and an 11-inch piece. I've also cut a small piece like this, and that's going to be used for the middle part. With the 11-inch piece, I'm going to be folding both sides into the middle, ironing the sides down. It is a little bit trickier with the satin. I find it slips a lot. I also do prefer using the Cricut Mini rather than an iron. I just find it's easier for me to hold and sort of manipulate the fabric a bit easier, because sometimes the satin does shift. Also, it doesn't have to be perfect on the ends because we can just trim that. So that's the 11-inch piece. Then with the 14-inch piece, we're using the smallest piece and the medium piece. We're going to fold it in about 1 inch on each side. Fold this one in. I usually just fold it in the middle, but depending on how wide you want the middle part to be, you can fold it to your desired length. With the 17-inch piece, we're going to fold that in half with the shiny side on the inside, corner to corner. And I'm going to sew just a straight line. We're also going to leave a little gap in the middle so then we can flip it out. So I've just left a little gap here, about 1.5 inches to make it easy for me. Now I'm going to do diagonals on these corners to close up the ends. So I'm just going to sew straight down. Also make sure to backstitch on this part as well. And I'm going to do that on the other side. Just going to trim off the excess on both sides. And then I'm going to push each corner out that little hole that we left. And you can use your fingers to get these corners back out. I like to use a thick knitting needle. Just make sure the one you use isn't too sharp at the ends, because otherwise you might poke a hole through the fabric. Once you have that, we're just going to quickly press it just like that so it's nice and flat. And now we're going to arrange these. So the smallest, medium, large. Fold both the small and the medium in half with a little bit overlapping. I usually have maybe 1/2 inch overlap like that. And then we're going to put them together. So I usually like to have about 1 inch off. And we're going to sew 2 lines straight down the middle. When you get to almost the end, you're going to want to sew this in. So I usually fold it in half and just sort of press so I can gauge where the middle is. And then I very gently pop it under, only by just the tiniest bit. And backstitch. Just to secure it there. So it's only a little bit on there. And that's what that looks like so far. Before we do the next part, you want to have your middle bit, your clip, a needle and thread, and your glue ready to go. So I start from the top I insert my needle, I'm going to say a couple mils in, and then I push it back out where the second piece meets, just here, to make the first pleat. And then here I section this and do 2 more pleats. So if you feel that you've maybe done too much, you can always pull it back out and try again just to make them even. And then you're going to push the needle back out where the end of that first layer is. So then we've got our first 3 pleats. I'm going to push back down and we're going to do another 2. So you should end up with 5. 3 on the first piece of fabric here, 2 on this one that you can see here, and then we're going to do another 2 on this piece of fabric. And once you're happy with all the pleats, you can kind of like brush them out, make sure that they're sitting correctly. Gonna pull the needle out like so, and we're just going to bunch it together. And then I like to just wrap my string around a few times and pull tightly as well. It looks like that so far. We're going to pop that in the middle. It is a bit fiddly. So you can either have it kind of bunched up or you can make sure it's completely straight. It's up to you and your preference. Once you're happy with the front, you're going to turn it over while still holding that middle part. So it looks like this. And you're going to go put some glue on the shorter side. Like that. That's when you pop your clip in. So I pop my clip in like this. I pop it through that little gap there and lay it flat, and then I put glue on this other side. It's also sometimes easier to trim the excess. And then I pop it back through that gap. Fully trim. Finish gluing. I press down and hold it for a moment. If you didn't have glue, you could sew straight along here, hand stitch. So that's how to make the tail version. For the triple layer bow, you'll need a 14-inch piece, 11.5-inch piece, and a 9-inch piece, and then I've also got the middle piece as well. Starting with the smallest piece, which is the 9-inch piece, we're going to fold inwards, straight into the middle, and iron. With the medium-sized piece, which is 11.5, we're going to fold it in so there's about a 1-inch gap, maybe like about 2 centimeters. Just like that. So that's the small and the medium piece done. Now for the large piece, we're going to fold in just the tiniest bit, about 1 centimeter, about half an inch. So you should have 3 pieces that look like this. When assembling, we're going to fold straight into the middle with a little piece overlapping for each piece. I'm putting the small on top of the medium, and then we're going to put the small and the medium on top of the large. And we want to make sure that each tier is about the same distance as each other. Now we're going to sew 2 straight lines straight down the middle. Satin is also quite slippery, so if you feel that it's moving, just go slower and just make sure that you're pushing it through without it moving too much. So very similar to how we did the last one, we're going to start with putting the needle in up the top. We're going to do 2 pleats on this one, 1 pleat on here, and another 2 pleats down the bottom. So if you don't like the look of the pleats, you can always redo it. To make them look more even. And then we're just doing one on this piece, like that. And then we're going to do another 2 down the bottom. And just tie around again, so it holds like that. Now we're going to put the middle piece on. I like to just make sure the bow looks nice from the front before turning it around. And again, we're just going to glue the back. Popping that piece through this little hole here. Trimming the excess. And then finishing off gluing. And that is how you make both the triple layer and the tail oversized hair bow. Let me know what you guys think about this tutorial. Let me know if you guys try and make it. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a lovely day. Bye!